Hi, welcome to Real Magic Review. My name is Steve Faulkner. Today I'm going to be talking about Optix Pro. It's taken me a while. There is a reason, and I think it's an interesting one. This is Optix Pro by Tobias Dostal and Harrius. Before we do this, can you please like and subscribe, check out onlinemagic.co. That's my membership site. It's very good. 900 plus videos, live sessions, most weeks, where anybody can come along, whatever level, and they will be uploaded to the course with the other hundreds of videos. And special guests. We haven't had one for a while, but we've had some phenomenal special guests, and they're uploaded too. So check it out. Don't take my word for it. Have a look at the Trustpilot reviews, onlinemagic.co. Please also follow me on Instagram at Steve Faulkner and at Real Magic Review. That's a little bit quieter at the moment, but I do plan, as always, to do more on there, magic-related stuff, and my podcast, Steve Faulkner's Magic Show, wherever you get your podcast. Check out the guests we've had on there. It's a stunner. Right, but again, don't take my word for it. If you do go to the podcast, please leave a review. It makes all the difference. Very few people do. I get it. I understand. I was the same, but I'll love you forever if you do it. Right, Optix Pro has been a nemesis of mine. Those people that know me knows that I got a real block on performing this. So briefly, I reviewed Optix by Tobias Dostal, which I thought was a masterpiece of a trick. I struggled a bit with it. I was a bit all over the place with it. To be honest, I probably didn't practice it enough and then built up this barrier. And we've all had it with certain tricks, or many of us have, I should think, where you just get more and more nervous about it, you procrastinate for so long, and it just becomes this kind of calcified rock of a thing in front of you that you can't move out of the way to get the trick done. I think the nervousness about it was basically, it's one of those really bold tricks. Not that I'm a stranger to that, but the idea of, well, we'll go into what you do at the moment, but I put it off. The main thing that I did was I said to myself, right, I'm not putting this review out until I get footage. Then it's come out quite late, and we know that magic doesn't get better with time, so hopefully you'll watch this and see this as the stunning piece of magic is, even if it is a few months old or more. So the history is Optix came out. There are a few, for want of a better word, issues. Issues not as in it didn't work, but I struggled with the size of the button on it with my porky fingers. It was relatively difficult. I wouldn't say really difficult compared to some sleight of hand stuff, but there were only really a handful of people that started taking it out and performing it. And Noel Coulter was one of them. So Noel started doing it relatively recently. He's the one that sort of I phoned him up all needy and asked him questions saying, is it going to be all right? And he really helped me. And I spoke to Henry as well, and Tobias. And that's what I do. I get a bit needy. I need reassurance like a child. And then I go out and finally perform it. I've got a bit of footage in a minute of the first or the second performance of it. I took it to a gig, and you'll see what happens in the trick. Do watch the trailer. Do go back and watch people do it properly. This is new. I practiced it a lot, but I'll show you the footage and kind of talk over it. It's silent because it sounds awful anyway. It is, just before I start it, I know it's a bit too much of a disclaimer, but this is not how you should do it. My technique was sloppy. It wasn't subtle enough. The routine got all over the place. That tends to happen with me. You know, I take it out, I forget all the stuff that I've been practicing, and then after a few performances, like at the end of the night, which I didn't get footage of, it was feeling more smooth, and I started to trust the process, and that's a really big thing with this. So this is, you borrow a phone, and I say, right, is it okay to put the light on? And you find any justification. I get my phone out, and they give me their phone on, so it's on video mode. I get my phone, hand it to them, and say, can you film me on my phone? They film me. I say, right, you can keep this footage. It's going to be a good one. And then I vanish their phone, and they're filming away, and then I get a bit confused. And then so I'm going to make the phone come back, and there it is in your hand. So she didn't realise at this moment, the bloke in the background was going, it's not, and she was like, what? And then she was totally blown away and discussing it at length. He couldn't get his head. I mean, it's just, and then she says, no, it is, it's got my key in it. So I might do an analysis of that in a minute and say what was wrong with it and what is usually better. But the important thing is, the really scary bits of this for me were totally fine. And once I'd done it, it was one of those lovely feelings of A, getting over the ump, and B, realizing that I had another A-list kind of top bit of material that will be my go-to trick if I have to really impress someone, and something I will do all the time. It's such a lovely feeling to finally, it's so pathetic, isn't it? But anyway, so let's sort of re-review it. If you want to see the full review of the original Optix, go back to it. But the Optix Pro, this is a big upgrade. This isn't one of those things where, is it worth getting a new one? Maybe not if you're already completely fine with the other one, but there's a couple of things with this. You finish completely clean. It has an adaptation on it. You can either, there is Tobias's method and there is Henry's method. Tobias's is the original where you don't end clean. It's a little bit more difficult. There's a little bit more practice involved, and it's a little bit more versatile. You can do it without a jacket on. There's a great, I think was it Luca Bono that introduced a technique on the Facebook page, which just looks stunning. Pair of shorts, no jacket, whatever. So that's really nice. Saying you don't end clean, when they realise that they're holding their own phone, you could walk an elephant in a room, right? So you're going to end clean at some point. But it's a little bit more to think about, and that was one of the blockers for me. First improvement. You can also do Henry's, which it comes set for, which makes the whole thing more solid, and when that vanish happens, it's done. Those of you in the know will be able to watch that performance and suss out how that is done, but you are ultra clean, super clean. You get everything in this to get going, and you get the instructions, detailed instructions to go from one method to the other. There's a bit of adapting you need to do. It will take you a couple of minutes, but I like that versatility because now I've learnt the easier version. I now have the confidence to do the other one if need be. The whole thing is more solid. The charging situation is a lot better. It uses USB-C rather than the sort of very idiosyncratic one that came before. It was like a watch one, I think. So the whole thing's a lot more versatile. It's really solid. It's really well built. The charging's fine on it. The downloads, the tutorial's brilliant, and you get loads to be getting on with. So well worth the upgrade if you've got any kind of struggles or you want to do that alternate version, which you can adapt the old one for. And I know there was a second version that came out, I think, that had a better button on it, because basically the whole thing is when you vanish, that light's got to go off, right? But even when it didn't, which happened once to me, they still didn't notice. But especially if you're not doing the Henry version, you need that light off. So there's lots to trust in this, and it is one of those leap of faith tricks. You just have to go out and you feel that vulnerability, which I thrive off of, and I forgot how much I did, the energy I felt. I did a 3-hour close-up gig, which is always at least an hour too long for me. I loved every minute of it. And I will say that that gig you saw there was a repeat client, and what I tend to do is I tend to go up to the main table and they go, what you got for us now? And I do a new trick. So last time I think it was John Allen's destination box, which completely floored them, and they're good because they love it, but they'll tell me afterwards. They'll say, oh, didn't like it as much as this. And this was, everybody I did it to, it was that spooky, strong response where they just cannot get their head around it. It's a bottle through table moment. It's like, they can't, you saw the woman on there. It's a moment where you go, do they get what's happening? And then it's because they're processing. And I think that's important with the performance of this. Later on, I was a bit more relaxed, and I started to find those moments where I just had to set back and let it settle. And that was an exciting moment as well. It's, I think, one of the best tricks in a very, very, very long time. Straight away, even performing it not at the top of my game because it was new, I could see what I had. And this is a proper worker, and something I think once you do it, you will do every single time. Now I have another one that is the closer, I think also this is great for stage. If you've got cameras, great. But if you haven't got cameras, up to 100 people, you're borrowing someone's phone. The phone vanishes. Now, the other scary bits about this is that they are filming it. They're filming that vanish, and they are going to keep it, which is a great thing. It's a lovely memento. They've got it on their camera. But with that, I felt that pressure to make that vanish really good. And it wasn't that great there. I don't know if I exposed it, but it was too much. It has to be subtle. You know, it's like, it's gone. There's a lot of this going on with me, and I think I've seen other footage of people that haven't quite worked it in. Totally understandable doing the same. You tend to overprove it a little bit, I think, when you do it. And then what I wanted to do is get this thing where I almost looked like I was folding the phone and it was gone, but I kind of ended up, you know, getting a bit nervous and doing a bit too much of that. But that's fine. The point of the fact is that I still got away with it. They still loved it and they had no idea how it was done. I wouldn't recommend getting other people to film it. I did that for the footage, but then they can look back at it and angles may be a problem. On angles, the point of Henry's is that it's easier. He says exactly the same, and we all know how good he is at sleight of hand. Henry Harrius said he didn't feel that as competent enough to have them filming it with the other version. He found it difficult and getting it into place and stuff. This, he felt a lot more confident with. So this is a lot more forgiving on angles. I'd say you can pretty much do it surrounded when you get good at it. You're going to need a jacket. With the other version, you got to step back a bit. Great for parlour, great for stage, great for close-up if you've got that freedom. And if you haven't, you might have to adapt it a bit. But with this, like I say, you can do either version. So I think it's a lot easier. I think it's actually a pretty easy trick, but you have got to practice the moments and it's not even slight, it's getting things into position, where you're going to place things, rehearse this. It's one of the few close-up tricks I actually rehearsed in front of the mirror. Like the movements in between the bits that were difficult, I think were really important. But now I have a routine that is going to just, I know, pay dividends and is something I'm very, very excited about. Now, many of you will go to that's kind of the review. I can't see any flaws in it. I think it's nearly a perfect piece of magic. On that, I will look at the performance in a minute and just break down what was not good about it, what could have been a lot better, just for those of you that are into that sort of thing. But before that, check out the links below. That's Optix Pro by Henry Harrius and Tobias Dostal. Well, Optix by Tobias Dostal. Henry Harrius has produced it and worked with Tobias on the improvements. Stunning piece of stuff. So let's just look at this briefly. So the first thing is I'm in position here. I'm kind of nervous, but and that's the moment I was really nervous about. That is totally fine. If you're performing this, you're going to be absolutely fine. This is also a scary bit. I will say you don't want to do this in pure daylight, really. You may get away with it, but you want room, you see it's not dark, so you don't need it dark. That is too much effort. I just want to get it where I'm just rubbing it in my hands. There's so many vanishes in this, and I think there's a moment here where I could have just spoken to him a bit more, been a bit more confident, smoothed it out a bit, and really played on this moment. And for this, you have to kind of just let it settle. If you did hear the audio, people on the camera are completely losing it, saying it can't be your phone, it can't be your phone. And then she has to check herself whether it's hers. So that's a flawed performance, but you see the angles are totally fine. So if I can get away with it doing like that, you can. If you've got any questions, there are so many more things we could talk about, but I don't want to make it even longer than it already is. Do put them below. I am getting better answering the questions now. I'm kind of back on it. And you can email me at steve@onlinemagic.co. For anything you want me to review, you can request, and then I can go to the creator and ask. And like I said, any questions or any subjects you'd like me to talk about, I will happily do that. Thanks very much. Have a great one. Take care.